Hey there, welcome back to Tennille Talks. So in this reading, I'm recognizing that at some point a divine feminine crossed paths with somebody who is battling addiction. Now, I just want to describe divine energy. Imagine a lost and found, right? A lost and found is a place where lost items are stored and they stay there until their original owners retrieve them, right? So imagine losing something really precious and discovering it again. A traumatic experience has a way of taking a piece of you. Imagine that every human is a puzzle, but every time you go through a traumatic experience, you lose a piece of your puzzle. Well, how do you find something that has been lost for you? Divine beings are like lost and founds, meaning they are carrying an energy that has the ability to restore or reconnect those emotional fragments that were damaged from traumas. Now, you don't have to go to a specific location to find a divine feminine or a divine masculine. They're portal, which means they're walking all around. And when you cross paths with them, I want you to imagine that a piece of you that had been lost because of a trauma that you experienced, all of a sudden it's been found. But the reason why that piece is found is because divine beings carry codes. Now, whether divine beings know it or not, they live their life based on two vows. They may never say this to themselves, but they live their life based on a vow of respect and a vow of love, meaning there is a social awareness that divine beings have that the typical or average human doesn't. Their social awareness allows them to live with a basic respect for others, which means you can be different than me. You can speak different, you can believe something different, and I will still see your worth. I will still see your value. I will respect you without judgment, no matter how different you are than me. Now then we have the love. Divine beings have a way of being able to deeply show affection, which is love, to people that are just different from them, meaning there's no reason that you have to earn my love. I will just love you. I will just respect you because you exist. There's nothing that you have to do to get that from me. Now, respect and love go hand in hand with loyalty, because when somebody respects you, when they see your worth and value, you want that to be a consistent state of being. Meaning if you love and respect me on Tuesday, well, damn it, I'm going to want it on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this year, next year, and the next 50 years to come. Well, that is the energy of loyalty, which means I won't renounce you, I won't betray you, and I won't desert you in the face of any temptation. Now, let's imagine that every time somebody experiences a traumatic moment in their life, any type of trauma, that trauma was because there was no respect, there was no love, and there's no loyalty. And so the pieces of you that are broken, you've lost respect for yourself, you've lost loyalty for yourself, and you've lost love for yourself because of what you've endured. But when you cross paths with a divine being, they are carrying the codes, those same codes that whoever traumatized you didn't live by. To cross paths with the divine feminine and masculine is essentially to have your soul restored. Your soul is activated. Why is it activated? Because divine beings use their consciousness, which means they are absolutely aware of what they're doing, how they're behaving, what they're thinking, and what they're feeling. They are so self-aware that they are socially aware of others, which means that when you cross paths with them, they are going to activate and reconnect those emotional fragments, those lost puzzle pieces. When you meet a divine being, you are essentially finding the parts of you that were lost and damaged because of trauma. How are you finding them? Because they are showing up with love, they are showing up with respect, and they are showing up with loyalty. In order to experience trauma, those three things, or one of those three things, had to have not have been present. And that is why we lose pieces. Now, divine beings are not consciously saying to themselves, minute to minute, moment to moment, I got to love them. I got to be loyal. I got to be respectful. I got to love them. I got to be loyal. I got to respectful. Like, they're not consciously telling it is in them. There is a multi-dimensional memory that exists inside of a divine being, which pretty much means you've done this before, right? If any of us have this feeling, we just know what to do. And the reason why you know what to do is because it is in your cells. You've done this before, meaning the reason why you were sent to Earth in order to rebuild this system, you did this before, but you just did it in other star systems. And so you carry this memory of being able to repair what was lost. You essentially are lost and founds, right? And so you've been seated here on Earth in order to help humanity recover what has been stolen by ways of trauma, okay? And so when people are walking around not knowing that pieces of them are lost and fragmented, when they cross paths with a divine being, all of a sudden they start to recognize that something inside of them wasn't whole. Now, a lot of times people in this reading, I'm seeing the energy of drugs. Now, for the sake of the reading, we are just going to say that the drug of choice is alcohol. Now, anytime that we use drugs, we are trying to self-medicate. When we self-medicate, we are trying to numb or suppress intense emotions that sometimes are negative or they're distressing. And those emotions and those memories are attached to the trauma we experience. Well, when those feelings start to come up, when we start to get those memories, if we take or consume a drug, we can kind of put that memory to bed. We can put that emotion to rest. Now, the thing about a drug is that it's not permanent. It's only temporary. So when it starts to wear off, you got to take it again. This is how the addiction forms. But when you cross paths with the divine being, the drug doesn't hit the same. The addiction starts to lose its power. It starts to lose its hold because they are carrying a code. They are carrying an energy. And when they give that energy to you, it activates pieces of you. It reconnects pieces of you that were severed by way of a trauma. Now, let's imagine, because in this reading, it doesn't say that there was a married couple, but there are lovers. One of the lovers was battling an addiction. Now, when I was preparing for this reading, I was looking up alcoholism and I wanted to understand how that impacts the person that you are married or dating. For instance, if you are not an alcoholic, but you're dating an alcoholic, how does that impact you personally, right? Like, what type of persona, what type of character trait do you develop in order to cope with somebody who is addicted to drugs? Now, there are 4 types of wives per this article that I found. There are 4 types of wives that an alcoholic could be married to. Now, first, there's Suffering Susan. Now, Suffering Susan is almost a victim of the addiction, which means this is the kind of person that is going to withdraw. They're going to suffer in silence. And if you think about the energy of a home where the mother or the nurturing energy is hiding or not present, the home itself, the atmosphere can feel heavy and somber. So that's one aspect of a mate of an alcoholic. Now then you have Controlling Catherine. Now, Controlling Catherine recognizes that she cannot control or stop the addiction, the habit. And so what Controlling Catherine does is attempts to control everything else in the home because I can't control that one thing. And so in order to maintain control, every detail of the house is important. The schedules, the routines, the placement of the pillows, right? The temperature, the curtains, the door. Like, Y'all know those homes that are micromanaged, and sometimes controlling Catherine does that in order to cope with the fact that she just can't control the addiction of her partner. Well, then you have wavering Winifred. Now, I also wanted to, so wavering Winifred goes through cycles, hence wavering. So these cycles are hopeful at times, and at others, it's just literally feeling despair. So sometimes this is the kind of spouse that feels really positive. We are going to cure your addiction. We're going to tackle this. We're feeling good. It's not going to last forever, right? We're going to get you to stop drinking. We're going to get you to stop taking the pills. Like, we've got a plan. Like, that is an aspect of wavering Winifred. But then there's the other side where she's frustrated. She's feeling helpless. And that means that's because, listen, to be in a relationship with somebody that is suffering with addiction, that means sometimes the climate of the home is going to be unpredictable. It's going to be unstable. And so it is during those times when the home is unstable that wavering Winifred will start to feel doubtful, right? All of that passion that she once felt, understanding that the addiction could be tackled, like we can end it. There are other times where she's just doubtful, she's indecisive, and she just loses all hope. And that is where the despair comes in. Lastly, punitive Polly. Now, punitive Polly has a way of behaving, and it creates a home that is hostile, emotionally taxing, right? And why is that? Because the environment of the home, when you have an addict with punitive Polly, there's going to be verbal, emotional outbursts. So this is the kind of home that feels unsafe. And it feels unsafe because it's unstable. People are arguing, people are fighting, right? So you've got the addict, but then you've got punitive Polly, who's verbally or emotionally abusing the addict. And now the entire environment of the home is tense and uncomfortable. Now, for the sake of this reading, the partner of the addict is coming out as punitive Polly. She's giving me the energy of the Five of Swords. So this is somebody that is abusive, combative, controlling, and domineering. Now, I want you to imagine that whoever this lover is that was suffering with addiction or just drug abuse in general has crossed paths with specifically a divine feminine. Now, there are pieces of this addict that had been lost because of trauma. And those lost pieces were not being found, but they were drinking, smoking, popping pills, injecting. They were doing whatever they could do to find what was lost. But once this person crossed paths with the divine feminine, all of a sudden their soul was activated, right? And so divine beings have a way. It is the codes. Divine beings, whether you know it or not, you have made a vow, meaning it is in you. You don't know how not to respect people. You don't know how not to love people. You don't know how not to be loyal. And there are a lot of people that you cross paths with that you may admit don't necessarily deserve your divinity, right? But the only way that they can recover the parts of them that have been lost, severed, fragmented, damaged, and destroyed is to experience an energy that is unconditional, right? Meaning they don't have to be anything. They can be an addict and you will respect them. They can be an addict and you will love them. They can be battling addiction and you can still see their worth. You can still see their value because you don't judge them based on the addiction. You just understand that they are a soul. They are a person standing in front of you, and that is enough to offer them love. That is enough to give them affection. Now imagine if divine beings had a scent, meaning we had a certain smell. And so once somebody gets a hold of a divine being's scent, it's almost like they can pick up on it. And so there was an addict who crossed paths with the divine feminine, and all of a sudden this addict smelled different to his spouse. And remember, his spouse is coming up as punitive Polly. Now, when this addict crossed paths with the divine feminine, something inside of them started to shift. And it almost seems like punitive Polly recognized that when this person wanted to put down the drugs, when this person wanted to stop drinking, it was because something inside of their energy had shifted. Meaning you ain't never wanted to stop drinking and smoking before. What have you crossed paths with that would make you want to shift or change this way? And so now I get the energy of envy. Y'all, anytime I see envy, I think of a short that I saw. I think her name is Clarissa Fields, and she's a boxer. And she was saying that the more that she offered to her family, the more that they hated her, right? And so she's wealthy and she's giving and giving and giving and providing to her family. And she was like, but listen, I recognize that they didn't want what I could give them. They wanted what I had. Okay, that is envy. I don't want what you can give me. I want the very thing you have. And so the spouse, punitive Polly, picks up the scent of the divine feminine on her addict partner. And she wants the essence of the divine feminine, meaning the respect, the love, the loyalty, those codes that are woven in every fiber of a divine's being is what punitive Polly wants. Right? Because it's almost like, well, if I have that energy, if I have that essence, well, then I can offer my partner what you just did. Right? And so this is somebody, here it is again, wanting to extract the divinity outside of the divine being. And the only reason why they understood that you are divine is because you caused a shift. You caused a soul activation inside of their partner, who up until the point of meeting you was totally fine with self-medicating. The drugs were working. I mean, they weren't really shifting or growing or healing beyond the trauma, but as long as they had a drug, maybe this person was peaceful, maybe they were subdued, maybe they were calm, maybe they could get to a state of relaxation. But all of a sudden, nothing is working anymore. Nothing is working, and that is the energy of envy, right? And so I got punitive Patty is envying the divine feminine. But the spouse that has been suffering, or the lover that has been suffering with addiction, is all of a sudden recognizing that punitive Patty is full of drama. And this is somebody who never saw their partner as necessarily being dramatic. Like they didn't recognize that this person was combative or abusive verbally, abusive emotionally. But once they started to put the drug down, and the reason why they put the drug down is because they found an energy. They found a piece of them that had been lost as a way of trauma. They found that peace. It was restored in them when they crossed paths with the divine being. It was either the respect, the love, or the loyalty that the divine feminine showed this person. And now once you start to collect those pieces back, the people that in your life, they hit different, they feel different, right? And so there are two things happening in this reading, and both of them are triggered and set off by the energy of a divine feminine. Now, there may have been a lover that you had, or there may have been somebody you crossed paths with who you gave them a type of energy that they are not able to find. They have not been able to find it anywhere else because you are the lost and found. And so this is literally giving 6 of Cups, meaning somebody from your past is going to return because they recognize that you are carrying the pieces to their puzzle. Okay? This person is coming up as wanting to have a love affair. And the reason why they want to have a love affair is because they are seeing this divine feminine specifically, right? So you can be a masculine and you can carry the energy of the divine feminine. But this person is seeing this exchange as fate, meaning at one point, the reading starts out with somebody not necessarily being able to recognize the significant, sometimes you got to lose it in order to find it again. You understand? Losing something precious and discovering it again. And so this is somebody getting their puzzle piece back. but then needing almost to get adjusted to what they have just received energetically. And so as they're getting adjusted to the puzzle pieces, respect, love, and loyalty, there's a separation period, right? And so the Six of Cups says, hey, there was a love affair that may have been put to death, but a cycle is about to begin again. And the only reason why the cycle is beginning again is because the person that was suffering from drugs has been freed, which means that the drugs aren't hitting. They're not choosing the drug anymore. And they are looking at this divine feminine as a living example, meaning I never knew what it was I could be until I saw it exist inside of you, right? Divine beings, you are living examples. Because guess what? You show up and you respect, you show up and you love, and you show up and you remain loyal. And you do that unconditionally, which means no matter how you're treated, you still give love. No matter how you're disrespected, you still give respect. No matter how many people betray you, you still are loyal. People don't cross paths with divine beings often. And so you're never the same after you meet a divine feminine or a divine masculine. But sometimes people have to lose your preciousness in order to discover it again, in order to understand the value. Just like people lose their own pieces, they lose aspects of their soul because of trauma. And so when you give them the piece back, sometimes it can be confusing, sometimes it can be uncomfortable, right? And so that's what I'm seeing in this reading. I'm seeing that there was a soul activation, right? And there was somebody struggling with addiction, whether divine feminine knew it or not. This is somebody that was struggling addiction, but it was the love, the loyalty, and the respect that you gave this person that they were not getting anywhere else. And all of a sudden, their lover looked different. They're recognizing that their lover is harsh and abusive and controlling and domineering, right? All right, divine beings. And so if there was a relationship that was trapped in limbo, it was trapped in limbo because there was an addiction that somebody was codependent on, or somebody had to get over an emotional blockage. And so the divine feminine enters their life, gives them a couple puzzle pieces called respect, love, and loyalty. Divine feminine dips out. Well, now this person is holding these memories, these experiences, right? And they're recognizing, oh my God, I found something, but then I lost it again, right? And so they're recognizing the preciousness that is you, the preciousness that is your consciousness, the preciousness that is your essence. And now they're wanting it back. But before they could want you back, it's almost like they had to recognize that they were tired of what they were living in. They were living in the energy of Five of Swords. They were living in the energy of drama. Right? And so divine feminine, divine masculine, you guys are like light bulbs. And when you give people energies that they haven't experienced for years, right? Imagine being a child, and that was the first time you dealt with being disrespected. You know, imagine being 5 and then being 35. That means for 30 years, you never really have had anybody be loyal to you. You haven't had anybody that has seen your worth and your value without judgment. People have only accepted and loved you because of the job you had, or the car you had, right? Or the way you looked, right? Your assets, your possessions, those tangible things that change. But as soon as you lose assets, all of a sudden, people don't see your worth or value. Divine beings are built different. You're built different. You unconditionally love people. You unconditionally embrace people. Right? Meaning you don't require anything. Just the fact that somebody is standing in front of you and breathing and blinking is enough for them to receive the love. It's enough for them to not be betrayed and deserted. And so I almost see the cure to someone's addiction was just a divine feminine. Can you imagine? And I don't know how long this person may have been battling, But this person was battling and battling and battling me. No bottle, no pill, no smoke, no blunt, nothing could bring back all of their lost pieces. But it was the energy of the divine feminine all of a sudden where they recognized, right? And it was because of what you provided them with. So y'all, if this is resonating with you, there was something that ended, right? And it's almost like somebody has recovered the wisdom of their inner child. And now that they've recovered the wisdom of their inner child, now they want to communicate. Now they want to reach out. Now they want to express that they were battling the addiction. That's why they were in limbo. That's why things couldn't progress forward, right? And so if there was somebody that kind of kicked you to the curb or somebody that kind of pushed you away, it was because they had to lose something precious in order to discover it again. But before they lost the divine feminine, what they really lost were the pieces of their soul that were fragmented, the pieces of their soul that had to be reconnected. You know, when we're talking about divine beings using their consciousness, you have codes. Like imagine like your brain, it just has a code called love, a code called respect, and you never deviate from that. You never, ever deviate. You are programmed that way. And and what do they say? There's only 144. You know what I mean? Like there aren't many divine beings. And so when people meet you, they can't unmeet you because they can't find you everywhere. You are extremely rare. When I was thinking about this reading, I was thinking about religion, you know, and religion is different from Christ consciousness, right? And so what allowed religion to spread, right? How did Christianity and Islam and Judaism become as big as they are? And if we're really being honest, the only reason those religions could spread is because they did not respect the differences in others, meaning either you believe what I believe or I kill you, right? You believe what I believe or you suffer. And so my biggest issue with religion itself is that the spirit of religion, it could only thrive with disrespect, right? And so when you have a divine being, somebody that comes here who is coded with love, coded with respect, listen, you don't even fit into society because society thrives on figuring out why you're different, why you can't belong to what I belong to, right? The only way religion can grow, the only way Christianity could grow is by consuming everything that was not like it and making it like it. Now, if I'm going to force you to be like me and to believe what I believe, then I am not honoring you. I am not seeing your worth. I'm not valuing you. I'm judging you based on your differences and saying, I don't like your differences. And you can either make your difference into my similarity or suffer the consequences. And so imagine the spirit. That is a spirit. And if you think about the masses of people that would identify as religious, at the core of the religion is disrespect, right? Now, that is not the consciousness of the ascended masters. That is not the message of the ascended masters, but that is the vehicle that religion has driven in order to grow. It is disrespect. And so a lot of divine beings, you may not necessarily fit into a religion because you are carrying divine codes that force you to unconditionally love and respect and be loyal to people, even if they are unlike you. I just wanted to say that. All right, y'all. So that is pretty much that. That is the reading. That is the reading. There may be somebody returning, but they're only returning because they have all of their puzzle pieces. And they have all of their puzzle pieces because they ran into a portable lost and found, aka a divine feminine or masculine. You are the lost and found because you are bringing respect, love, and loyalty. Those three things have been lost in humanity. And the only way they're returning is because divine beings are living examples, meaning I will live a life that shows you what you are absent of, right? And so once people experience you, you are precious. Once they lose you, they hope to discover and find you again. And so this is a reading possibly of somebody that lost you and they want to find you, right? But you help them find pieces of them that had been lost. And in the process of helping them recover what was lost, the people that they were connected to, they look different. Meaning, listen, the divine being is a mirror. And once you get love, respect, and loyalty, you won't settle for less anymore. You won't settle for less, right? All right, y'all, I love you. And so if this is you, if you just showed somebody unconditional love, respect, and loyalty, you are changing. You are activating souls because you are conscious. You are self-aware that everybody deserves respect. Everybody is worth something. Everybody holds value, right? Our differences is what bring us the value. It's not because we all need to be the same. It's not because we all need to have the same belief, rituals, and practices. It is in the difference where we find our uniqueness. All right, y'all. I love you. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.